You're listening to the Craig Proctor Real Estate Show. Each week, I'm going to be interviewing top realtors from coast to coast to give you a backstage pass on how they've created their amazing real estate empires and how you can copy them. Hi, everyone. This is real estate coach Craig Proctor. Welcome to the Craig Proctor Real Estate Show. My special guest today, fellow Canadian from Edmonton, Alberta, we have Gary Miller. Gary, welcome to the podcast.
Chris Miller, you got too many.
Oh, sorry. I was just speaking to a Gary, Chris. I apologize for that. I was just doing role playing with my team. Okay, Chris Miller from Edmonton. What you said you just had your first snowfall there.
We did. I had a couple light speckles last night, but thankfully it was after the kids got home from treating.
Okay, well, we are live here. As you know, it was Halloween, snow in Edmonton. Nothing like that in Toronto yet. Chris, we're gonna start off talking a little bit about how you found Craig Proctor and what's happened to your business since, and then we're gonna talk about how you're growing your team. Mm-hmm. Okay, how you've been growing your team, and talk about why agents would want to grow your team. Why they would want to join up with you, and why that's a benefit. And we'll talk generally about team building, because I really believe the future of real estate is you're either going to create your own super profitable sales team or you're going to join somebody else's.
Yeah.
So how did you find me, and how has your approach or your mindset changed in that time period?
That's a good question, Craig. And again, thanks for having me on. It's a real pleasure. And helping build my business is totally what came out of a fluke crossing one of your ads. So when I say fluke, obviously you did it intentionally, but it was...
Yeah, well, it wasn't a fluke. It wasn't a fluke to me.
That's right.
What did you see the ad? Do you remember?
Yeah, I do. It was actually how to write a proper Facebook ad to make your phone ring.
Ah, okay.
And I was like, you know what? We all do Facebook ads, but this was during the pandemic. This was a situation where it was before Christmas. Right. It was a little slower. I'd always done a lot of business with my sphere, being in the business for quite a few years. And I just thought, well, this looks interesting. Why not? I'll take a look at it. What do I got to lose?
and here you are. So that just shows the marketing does work. Now, was this something that you saw on Facebook? Do you remember where you saw me?
It was on Facebook. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh. Okay, so this is one of the things that we teach agents is we teach realtors how to do what I do, which is you and I didn't know each other.
Nope.
I provided good stuff on social media. You started watching my content. Now, here's what happened. You probably know what happened, Chris, but as soon as you started watching some of my content on Facebook, you were pixeled automatically by Facebook, and then you started seeing my stuff all the time.
Right.
Right. So that's what we teach you to do. That's what we teach real estate agents to do. And that replaces, cold calling, door knocking, chasing FSBOs, expireds, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So obviously that message attracted you. And so what happened after that? So you watch my stuff, you're like, okay, Craig seems to know what he's doing. Then what happens?
Yeah, well, I guess the biggest thing is I was like, this guy's different. How is this so attractive to me right now when I've been doing this for years? I see Facebook all the time. And I was like, I got to look at this more. So I did the little quick course. I think it was $80 or something to take your Facebook class. And then you had an immediate conference within 30 days of me doing that. And I'm like, well, again, it's the pandemic. It's Zoom. You had it actually said in your ad, we have never done this before. The pandemic is forcing us to do a Zoom conference. We're going to give it a try. And I was like, wow, this guy's really humble, but also he's trying to get out there in amongst the craziness in the world. So I took that 3-day conference that you had that was about how to take the Facebook to the next level and how to learn other tricks of the trade to get your lead generation going in a better way.
Now, when you started to implement this stuff, talk to me about what happened. What kind of transformation?
Well, I'd say probably 2 very big things happened. Number one, I was like, wow, this is really easy. I literally placed a couple of ads, and within 10 minutes, I had my phone ring. And I was like, what the heck just happened? So that was the first thing. I was like, this is legit. It really surprised me because it didn't look that different, but at the same time, it was a different approach. It was just the content that was there. The second thing was it made me question, in a very good way, Craig, like, why didn't I do this before? Like, what am I missing? I got to do the deep dive on all the feeders that this goes to, because this is amazing to me. If I had known this before, I would have done it earlier. Let's get in it now.
Okay, now what's your vision? Because what I say to realtors when they first meet up with me, you probably heard me say this before, is kind of like, when you see this, you can't unsee it. Okay, when you hear my message, you can't unhear it. Would it be a safe statement that there's no way that you could go back to doing what you were doing before you met me?
Oh, hands down. I was right on the verge of actually saying, this has become very monotonous, and I really love people and I really love real estate, but it's a tire kicker. It's a
grind. Yeah, it's a grind.
And I was like, this is really different. Why do I not feel like I'm grinding anymore? Now it's like I can't implement fast enough,
right?
Because all this stuff is just so vast in terms of the opportunity. Yet when I go in now, I do real estate. It's like, well, I'm doing a better job, Craig, than I was before, because I actually have more time to do it.
Correct. Because you're not wasting any time looking for prospects. No more cold calling, door knocking, chasing. 100% of them are coming to you using smart modern marketing. What is your income goal now? Now that you've got the Craig Proctor bug, you've got into this, you've met all these Craig Proctor superstars that are making millions of dollars a year, and some of them making, as making over $1 million a month. You're in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. You're in Western Canada. Where do you see this going for you over the next couple of years?
Well, I'll be honest with you, the numbers were a little wacky when I first wrote them down, because I'm like, this is not something I really see or hear very often, but I see it as very achievable. I was taking my, high six figure income, going, wow, this is a really good career, good business, but a lot of work. And now I'm like, no, I actually have to have a specific number. So let's say, for example, the average good realtor makes, $150,000, $200,000. I was above that, but let's just say that's the scenario. Right. I never dreamed like making, wow, you make 500, 600,000. That's a lot of money. My goal for next year is actually to make 1.5 million. That is my goal for the gross revenues.
Now, Chris, once you get there, then 1.5 will be already achieved, and you'll be setting your sights at 2 million. That's kind of how this thing works.
Right.
Now, so you're making a lot of money, but you also enjoy your real estate business a lot more than back when you were working harder and doing things you didn't like.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Like, I actually can't bring enough people into this fast enough, because I feel like so much is coming at me that I just want to give it away. Like, I've really had a perspective change now, that in terms of being a team leader, instead of giving people leads and teaching them how to, nurture somebody, giving the opportunity to somebody, it's like, please just go work with them. Here's the package. Here's the information. I want you to know what you're doing. I want you to do it like me, but you don't have to be like me. Allows me to go, okay, I don't need more for myself. This isn't about greed. This is about, like, I love the idea of helping my fellow colleagues and people that I want to surround myself with being successful without having to do all the hard stuff that I went through for the last 15, 20 years.
What you just said, a lot of people maybe watching this right now might be thinking, well, I can't really worry about, just building this legacy or helping others or giving back to my community, because right now I got to take care of myself. I totally get this. You guys know my background. When I got into real estate, even my father, Chris, told me not to do it.
Right.
That's how much of a loser I was. I dropped out of college. I dropped out of university. I got a job at the local hospital. I think I was making $14,000 a year. And I said to my dad, I think I'm going to get into real estate. And he's like, just don't do it. You never stick with anything, which was true, right? Couldn't deny that. Mm-hmm. He said, you're young. I was 26. You never sold anything in your life. You don't know anything about marketing. Just save your money and go get a job. Well, I got into real estate anyway, but I made the same mistake we all make, right? You get into real estate, you look around at what everyone's doing, what the broker tells you to do, what the associations tell you to do, and you end up, doing what they're doing. The pathway to success, okay, the pathway to freedom is to leverage yourself to some degree so you're making more money without having to do all the work. Okay, so here's a really controversial statement. If you want to get really, 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 really rich as a real estate agent, you've got to stop being a real estate agent. Okay.
That was a difficult thing to process for me too, because I love being a real estate agent. But
And
I
you still are, but you've got a different role, right? Your role, your role is transforming now into you're the team leader, and really your customers are going to be the agents that come and work on your team. And what you're providing them is listing appointments. So look, if you're in Western, not just in Western Canada, if you're in Alberta, if you're in the city of Alberta where Chris is at, here's how this deal would work for you. If you were to partner up with Chris, okay, you're not working for him, you're just like partnering up with him. Think of it that way, okay? He would provide you listing appointments, not leads, but actual listing appointments. He pays for all the marketing, the advertising, okay? And he would provide you listing appointments. You would simply let Chris know, here's when I'm available, what days of the week, what hours I can work. And his job would be to give you listing appointments and buyer appointments. But more than that, he also spends an enormous amount of time coaching you up on the presentations and what to do and say. Here's the crazy thing. So let's say that I worked at Chris's office. Maybe Thursday night, I want to book off with my kids. So I book that off on our CRM. So Chris knows, don't book Craig on Thursday night. Yep. But Friday afternoon, I'm open. Chris books me up with a listing appointment. He's provided me the listing. All I got to do is show up and basically read the words, do the presentation that I've been coached up to do. I get the listing signed. All I have to do now is send the listing documents into the office, and your team takes care of everything else. Putting up the sign, getting the keys cut, taking care of all the administrative things. So how much money could you make if you were on Chris's team and you were just going from appointment to appointment to appointment? So Chris's role is he's an expert at the marketing, and he's an expert at recruiting and hiring talented people. Mm-hmm. Now, you should contact him if you're out in Alberta. You should contact him and at least have a conversation. Okay, don't come in here with any preconceived notions or whatever. I'll be losing my freedom. It's the opposite. You'll get more freedom. Now, if you're not in Edmonton and you want to do what Chris is doing, then you contact me. It's that simple. And I'll show you how to do what Chris is doing in your city and grow your own team out. Mm-hmm. Okay, you might already have a team. A lot of people that have a team, their team's not working well enough, right? Some of you have tried to hire people before and you failed. It didn't work. It just means, you've got some things to learn. So you don't have to do the learning. I've already done it. You don't have to make the mistakes. I've already made the mistakes. So if you want to get a hold of Chris, how could people in Edmonton, realtors, or anybody, if they want to reach you, verify your story, what would be the best way to contact you?
Yeah, honestly, my direct cell phone is probably a great touch and really easy. It's 780-966-5954. So 5954. And my email, I got a nice short and sweet email, chris@yhsg.pro.
It's Miller time. Miller time. We'll place the contact information for Chris and for me. If you want to book a call with me, it's free. Yeah. All you have to do is go to proctorcall.com. My name, proctorcall.com. And I'll tell you what happens. If you go there, it's a free consultation that we'll do with you, where we ask you a bunch of questions, where you are, where you want to go, and we give you some better ideas, we'll share with you some different approaches. After we understand what you're doing, we'd say, okay, well, here's how we would do it. Okay. And let's face it, everyone here has a goal, right? If you're doing 25 transactions right now, and I said, what was your goal? And you said, well, I want to do 50. Then the obvious question is, why aren't you already doing the 50? Well, then you would tell me why you can't. Well, I don't have enough leads or whatever. You would tell me the obstacle. So I would share with you, well, how do we go around that obstacle? Because there's a lot of agents working with me that sell a hell of a lot more than 50 homes a year. Some of them are selling 50 a month. Some of them are selling 150 a month. Okay, so team building. That's the mission you're on now. And let's be clear on this. The reason Chris is leveraging himself with people, it's not because, Chris is like, well, if I hire more people, I'll, I can expand my business. No, he's expanded his business. He's got an overflow of leads coming in, and now he needs more agents to help, right? Like if you owned a bakery store and you had no customers coming in, you wouldn't be saying, oh, I guess if we want to increase our bakery business, we need to hire more people. No, that's not going to work. It's the last thing you would do. It's the marketing part of it. That is what Chris Miller has really dug into. He understands that his primary function here is to be the marketing director. Okay. Chris understands marketing. He knows how to get buyers and sellers in Edmonton chasing him down to the point where Chris is like, I can't do it all myself. I need help.
Definitely not.
Right. So it's a good problem, but if you hang around with Craig Proctor, you're going to have different problems, right? At first, you don't have enough business. Then I show you how to get too much business. And then you're like, well, then how do I hire a team? How do I recruit, hire, train? And then you do that. There's always going to be problems, but there's going to be better problems.
Yeah.
Right. Like, how am I going to spend all this money? That might be a problem one day. And a lot of our members are giving it back to charity. Yeah. Okay. They're giving money back to their community, to their worthy cause. All right, Chris, what else do we want to cover here today that people around the world should know about Chris Miller in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada?
You bet. Well, I think I've profoundly really just realized my vision is to be not just a great real estate agent, because I feel like I'm a really good agent already in my career, but to also show other people there's a way to do this business where it's not about sales and commissions. It's about loving your job. And it's about loving your clients and being able to have a business environment where you get to feel like you got fuel always in the tank to be able to always have business and client relationships. While you've also got the opportunity to not to wear so many hats, where you can actually go and spend time with your family. Because when you go away for a week as an individual realtor and you come back, you spin your wheels for a couple of weeks building your network again. When you're in a program like this, which really, was profound to me, you go away on a break, you come back, you've got appointments the next day. There's no downtime. So you don't fear taking a holiday.
And it's not just when you go away. Okay, for solo realtors watching this right now, here's your life. Okay, let's see if I've nailed this. Here's your life. If you're working on prospecting and cold calling or whatever you're doing, traditional stuff, referrals, friends and family. So you spend an enormous amount of time prospecting, and then you get some business, and now you're out on the listings and working with the buyers. So you're not able to prospect anymore. Mm-hmm. That's even true when you're generating leads. Yeah. If it's just you, okay, you plug into the Craig Proctor system. Okay, this is better because there's no more chasing anybody. There's no more cold calling or door knocking. In the Craig Proctor system, 100% of your buyers and sellers are chasing you. They're coming to you. We call this the automatic reverse prospecting system. But still, if you're a solo agent, now you're calling back these leads that are coming into your office with the Craig Proctor marketing. And the problem is if you're one person, you're doing the calling. And if you're good at doing the calling back of the leads, you're converting them. Now you're up with buyers and sellers, right? Who's calling the leads? Mm-hmm. You're so busy doing the doing that nobody's back calling the leads. So your income goes like good month, bad month, good month, bad month. And so the next step is, okay, I've got the marketing figured out. I can crank up the volume. Like you can crank up the volume here. That is not your, that's not your, what's confining your business. It's you need help now.
You need more hours in the day.
Yeah. So I want everyone to think about this. How many homes could you sell if it had nothing to do with you?
Yeah.
Right. That's the epiphany I had. Mm-hmm. That first year that I was in real estate, I don't think I've worked as hard ever. Number one, I was afraid of failure. So I had no other option. I worked hard. And I think, I don't know what I sold, 20, 25 homes. Pretty good for the first year, right? Mm-hmm. But the next year, I started hiring a couple of people. I go up to 125 transactions, 222 transactions. And pretty soon I'm doing 500 to 600 transactions a year. And it really doesn't have anything to do with me. Yeah. Now, working 70 hours a week was not sustainable. It's not duplicatable.
No.
Right?
No.
But selling 500 homes a year when I'm working 20 or 30 hours a week is sustainable.
And can I interject there too, Craig, real quick? Just the idea that when you're working on your own, there's only so much you can do. But when you're a realtor and we're taught to just go do the leads, run with the clients, you can burn out real quick. And being in a situation now where it's like, no, it's like, I want to sell more homes, then you work the same amount of hours, but now you've got, no, I don't have a job. I have somebody to do this and somebody to do that and somebody to do this. So now when I stop working, the business doesn't stop flowing.
Now, some realtors watching this might say, well, I want to provide personalized service. And if I hire a bunch of people, my clients won't get the same level of service. That's not true.
Oh, it's the opposite.
It's the opposite. So when I was a solo agent, okay, I'm trying to juggle all the balls. Chris, let's say you're my client. So I'm calling the leads. I'm doing the paperwork. I'm getting the keys cut. I'm doing it all. I'm trying to juggle all the balls. I couldn't give you near as much time as when I have a dedicated outside sales agent that's working with you, and I got a customer service rep at the office. I'm going to give my clients way better service. I am the OG with this team building. Okay, folks, we're talking about in the 1980s, the late 1980s is when I started to build. There was no such thing as teams.
Right.
So never teams. Real estate agents didn't have other agents working with them. Brokers did. But you can see we've created more millionaire agents than any other coach or trainer or guru in this industry. So if you want the real deal, if you really want to know how this works, if you don't want to learn from somebody that maybe attended one of my seminars or they read it in a book or they kind of get it, if you want to know what the top agents in the industry are doing, you get plugged into this. Okay, so you can call Chris. There's no horse in this race. If you're in Edmonton, you should be calling him. You don't need to call me. If you're in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, you don't need to call Craig Proctor because everything that you want to do in real estate is being done right now by Chris Miller. All you got to do is call him. He's invested the time and the money in the Craig Proctor system. And I see your backdrop, your home sold guaranteed realty. Tell us a bit about that, Chris.
Yeah, well, one of the things I really found crazy to deal with is all the different types of services that I can now offer my clients. I felt like I couldn't market them. I couldn't advertise them because in a traditional franchise situation, you're sitting basically asking permission from the brokerage and the partners to let you do things. But when you bring these opportunities to the table, every agent in the brokerage has to be on board with it, or the broker could potentially have people leave their office because they don't want to be part of that program. And the first thing I thought was,
look, if I was a broker,
yeah.
If I was a broker, you're a bit of a headache to me because when you're advertising your home sold guaranteed or I'll buy it, when you've got these incredible Craig Proctor offers, the other agents in the office can't compete with that. So they bitch to the broker. It's like, well, I can't compete with Chris. So they'll try to twist it around like these are bad offers or this is a bait and switch. No. We're giving buyers and sellers what they want. Folks, this is all about your offer. Chris has the best offers in his marketplace. That's why he wins. That's why he wins. He's going to get better and better at articulating and crafting the offer, and he's going to have that offer in more places. And some of the other realtors, they'll be upset. You're going to ruffle feathers when you start to take market share away from other real estate agents. But what's your option? Right? What's your option? The other option is I'll just blend in and sell 20 homes a year, not make any. And that's fine for some realtors. The realtors I attract are like Chris. There's a little spark in Chris. Okay. And when he saw my stuff, we set that spark on fire. I poured a little gasoline on that spark. Okay. There's no turning around for Chris now. Okay. He's got the vision. Again, once you hear this, you can't unhear it from Craig Proctor. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. Now, the other thing that we do, just to make sure that Chris and all people that are new come to Craig Proctor, you start off with me. Here's what we do. We mix you together with all the millionaire agents in the Craig Proctor system. So, Chris, you came to your first conference. It was virtually. Now you attend them in person. How has that impacted you getting to meet with and become friendly with other Craig Proctor system members that have been doing this for 5 or 10 or 20 years, becoming friendly with realtors that have been wherever you are? These are realtors making millions of dollars a year. It's kind of nice to know that everything you want to do is already successfully being done by them.
Yeah, it's been done. So I don't feel like I'm trying to tread this new path of new direction of new, trial and error. right? I think the biggest impact for me, Craig, is the obvious one, where I get to actually talk to other people who are willing to share how they're doing it and discuss their tweaking of their certain participants and the way they do certain processes without feeling like I'm somehow taking business away from them. There is no fear of loss. Everyone has this this really intentional fruitfulness and this feeling of abundance. And honestly, in a commission environment, I don't care what franchise brokerage you're with or boutique brokerage you're with, there always seems to be this inherent fear of loss. I'm going to share all my ideas with you, but I'm not going to share specifics. This group of individuals with your training program, Craig, shares specifics without fear.
Well, there's no fear because they know we truly live in abundance.
Yeah.
Right. Most realtors think, well, if I help another realtor in my marketplace, somehow it's going to take away from me because they don't understand how to create abundance for themselves. So they feel threatened. That's why when you become successful, as you've noticed, some of the other realtors in town aren't as friendly to you anymore. You haven't changed, just your track record for success has. Hey, by the way, I created my own little ad here. If you want to book a call with me, see if we can, it's not going to work because you got a virtual background here. It's Proctor. No, it doesn't work. See, look at that. It's Proctor. Yeah, proctorcall.com. I mean, I could shut this thing off here. You guys like my background? It's pretty cool. Yeah. Here, let's shut this thing down. So we'll go to blur. We're going to go to no background. See if we can do that. There we go. So that's what it really looks like. Mm-hmm. And this is where I want you guys to go. If you want to book a call with me, you go to proctorcall.com. Okay. Now, what's there when you go there? Is it like some big sales pitch? Nope. It's not a big sales pitch. What we do is we ask you a bunch of questions about where you are in your business and where you want to go. It's that simple. Then you jump on a call. We have limited spots. So like, don't book a call if you're not going to show up. But you're going to talk to me or one of my right-hand people. We're going to ask you, based on how you filled out the intake form, a little bit about what you're doing right now and where you want to go. And then we would give you for free some advice on the best approaches to get there. Now, why would we do that? Well, the easiest way to prove that I can help you is just to actually help you. Chris, is that not absolutely the truth? The very first message you saw from me, you said you were giving out, Craig, you were giving out really helpful advice on how to monetize Facebook as a real estate agent, how I could make money using Facebook, not waste my time on social media, but how I could actually monetize it. I gave away good information, which caused you to say, you know what? Craig really knows his stuff. Mm-hmm. And then you started seeing more of my stuff because you were pixeled by Facebook. Mm-hmm. I want to teach you, all of you folks, how to do that in your city. So how do you offer really helpful information for buyers and sellers? How do we target who's going to be moving? How do we put the right offers in front of them? Then when they watch your stuff on social media, they watch your stuff on, like right now, we are streaming live on Facebook. We're streaming live on YouTube. I don't know if we're on LinkedIn, but that's the approach. Okay. And that's how we create omnipresence. Now imagine if prospects in your city start seeing you offering them good information. And once they watch it, they're pixeled and they're starting to see your information on their news feed, on their phone, because that's where they're spending. They're not answering the phone, but they're on their phone seeing you. What happens eventually is they call you, and the call goes something like this: "Hey, Chris, we're thinking of selling our house. Could we set up a time to talk to you?" Now, isn't that better than having to call hundreds of prospects to try to find someone and think of the positioning. When people are chasing you, if we can get the buyers and sellers to contact you, think of how the positioning is way better than you chasing them. Now, the secret is to get so many buyers and sellers contacting you that you can cherry pick the best ones. Because Chris, I'm sure in Edmonton, some buyers are better than other buyers. Some sellers are better than other sellers. The way to get rich selling real estate is to have such an overflow of business that you can pick and choose. Okay. And if that was true for everyone watching this, if you had an overflow of business and you had the luxury of choice, how would you do this? You would say, well, since I can't work with all of them, I'm going to decide to work with the most motivated, the most ready to act, the most sincere buyers and sellers. Anybody that's rude to me or gives me attitude, I don't need to work with them. That's how you get rich in real estate. Okay. It's a marketing issue, folks. We got a lot of good realtors watching this right now who are really good when they get in front of buyers and sellers. Their challenge is they're not getting in front of enough buyers and sellers because they're not using smart, modern marketing, and they've got weak offers. Yeah. So that's what the call is about. We fix all this for you. And then all of a sudden, you're like Chris. You're like, well, you know what? Now I know who Craig is. I see him as someone that can help me. I've built some credibility with you. And you may want to get some other training and do some longer term stuff with me. I would love that, but there's no obligation. Right? If I help you for free and you like it and you like this approach, you may want to do other things with me. So that's the way we approach this. It's proctorcall.com there. Nothing fancy there, just a little Post-it note. Mm-hmm. And we'll have Chris's information below as well. So again, you contact Chris if you want to talk to him, verify he's a real real estate agent. And if you have any questions for Chris, he'd be happy to talk to you. And so would I. So Chris, final thoughts before we wrap up our interview today.
Yeah, I think the final thoughts are, really, I loved real estate for many, many years. And the pandemic really pushed the buttons on whether or not this was something I could continue to do as I get older and older, as my kids are still young. And what I've learned in the last, I'd say, 18 months here, Craig, is not only do I love it more than I ever did before, because now I know I'm actually doing the best job possible for each and every client, is I've never felt so lack of sales pitch in my presentation. When I'm sitting down with people, I'm like, I'm here to help you. Here's the information. If this sounds good to you, we're going to work well together. If the timing in the market isn't right now, let's talk next year or the year after. And we've got a system to keep in touch. And in this situation now, I don't feel like I'm selling anybody.
Yep. And that's what good marketing does. It attracts an abundance of buyers and sellers. It better positions you. So you appear to the prospect more like an advisor than a salesperson. I want to thank everybody for watching this. Let me know in the comments if you found this helpful. Maybe let us know in the comments what your biggest takeaway is. Again, I'll have Chris's contact information and my contact information in the comments below. But we'd love to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts. Chris, thank you. You're extremely busy. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy day to be with us here today. And we're going to get you back on because I want to follow up your results as you go past 1 million and head to your 1.5 goal. And like I said, that 1.5 goal, I bet you when you get there, it'll be 2 million or 2.5 million. Mm-hmm. So, thank you very much, Chris. And thank you everyone for watching the Craig Proctor Real Estate Show here today. We'll see you all again next time. And that ends today's interview. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Craig Proctor. Hey, I really hope you enjoyed that video. And listen, I've got a lot more information for you to help you grow your real estate business. You see, several times a week, I record new videos and I load them onto this YouTube channel. What I'd like you to do, if you'd like to access them, are two important things, and both are totally free. Number one is I'd like you to subscribe to this channel. You're going to see a little subscribe button for you to click on. And if you don't already have an account with YouTube, it's free for you to set it up. It's really easy, it's free, but you've got to subscribe to this channel. And the most important thing is to ring the little bell right next to the subscribe button. And that's going to let you know every time I load new money-making videos to help you grow your real estate business. So make sure you subscribe right now, you ring the little bell, and we'll see you on the next video.